Hi everyone, my name is Electric Donkey and today we're back on the Python series. Today we're going to be doing another option and it's going to be something that's a little bit more advanced. We are taking a little bit of a leap just because I don't want to faff around for too long on the basics. I want to get on and do some of the more interesting things. So I've added another option, option 4. I haven't filled this in yet and we've done this here. Refer to the second video maybe, if you don't know how we've done that. It's quite a big thing, but anyway, today we're going to be doing files. We'll just call it files. So yeah, I've just made an empty thing here, def main. We're actually going to make a few more functions though. We're going to make one called read file. I'm going to make another one called write file. And we want to pass some arguments into both of these. So we're going to pass in the file name, obviously. So what we do is we write it in the middle. And this means whenever we call this now, if I try read file, it asks us for a file name. You can see there, it's just, and it won't let us do it without a file name, which is what we want to do. So yeah, we need to write some code in here. We're also just going to run main at the bottom, make things a little bit easier. So yeah, we're going to just work these bit by bit, because at the moment we're just learning, so our main isn't going to do much. So what we're going to do is make a text file. We'll write this down. Write in an input and then read it back. Fairly simple. So in pseudocode kind of way, how we'd write this based on our completely empty files is we would first of all write the file, or in fact we would make the file first, and then we would use our write file function, and we'd gonna just call it text.txt. Then we would read it, and we would print it. So this is how we would do it in kind of pretend code. There is this bit here is technically right. This bit isn't. We don't need to bother about making the file itself. We can just get rid of this. And I'll go into that in a minute when we do our write file script. Or our function even. So at the moment we've called it text.txt and we're writing something in it, but we don't know what yet. We've called our so we know that our read file is going to end with return text because we need something to print, right? Our write file isn't going to return with anything, so we can just call that return true. Just because practice, it makes good practice to do that. Don't know why it's, oh, it doesn't like it because we don't have text yet. So, going back to our write file, seeing as that makes logical sense in the order, we're going to do our writing. So, there's two ways you can go about writing an opening files to start with. You can use something like this. So, you can use open, and you just put the file like that even. Then there's a few other things we need to do before, because we've opened this nice and easily now. If I can get back to that, we need a mode, and the mode determines what we're doing with this file. So in the write file, we want to write to it. So fortunately, Python make this quite easy, and it's just a W. So a W is write, and an R is read. So in here we can do the same thing. But R for read. And this means we can only read and we can only write in here. And that's why we've got separate functions for us. Now, that's all well and good. We could do this, but we do have to then close it, I believe. But this is not how I like to do things. I like to do things efficiently. So instead what we can use is we can use a little thing called with. And we've used this in GameMaker. It comes up quite a lot in object-oriented programming, purely because we can access different objects from other objects and scripts. But in this case, we want to do this. So we want to say with open, so we're opening that object almost, that object is the text, as file. We should see that that's probably alright, unless I've missed some brackets off. I don't think I've missed any, so that's fine. So what we're saying here is we're only within this section do we have the file open. So we only have the file open within this section. As soon as this ends, it closes, which is why it's quite nice and efficient. And now what we can do, of course, is write. So we're going to write our input, which is what we said down here. Write in an input. Something is very not right here. We do not like this one bit. Might be these brackets. Yeah. Okay, get rid of the brackets. It does not like the brackets in this scenario. Probably because these are separate. This. I think if we were to put the brackets here, this would work. Yeah, it likes that. Because the as file needs to go outside. So we'll leave it as that. That's a bit more GameMaker orientated. So in here we're saying file.write, and this is a simple file operation we can do, and an input. So in the input we need to say, what do you want to write? And that's basically it. It will now write that to the file and then return true. Fairly simple. Now let's do the same for the read. We're going to say text equals file.read, and we don't need a size, because what a size would do was it would only read up to that many lines. In this case we just want to read the whole thing. So if we were to run this now, what do we want to write? We'll just put like hey. There you go. It's then ran it through the write file, it's wrote hey into the file, and it's then read it back to us, just there. And now if we go back to our text, you can see there it's made the file completely new, and it's added in hey. Now you may be thinking, right, this is all well and good, what if I want to write something else in that file? So say we write something different, we put hello, and then we go back to the file. It's now replaced it, and this is where the modes come in. So W writes over everything. So if you write something in, it'll write in everything. We could change this to be an A. Now A stands for append, in which case it would add it onto the end of our thing. So if we put now evening, it's now added on to the end. Let's put hello and then added evening on the end. So there's some different ways we can use the modes to for different effects and different things we want to do. So in most cases you'll want to append. There is very few cases where you'll want to write over everything, but this could raise problems, because if you don't have the file and you try to append, if this doesn't exist, this text.txt, then it can't make the new file because it's trying to append to a file which doesn't exist. So it can be a little bit tricky in that sense, and we'll go into some error validation and whatnot in the next kind of videos. If we go back to this now, this should now get rid of the errors. Apart from the fact that we need to get rid of the main here. Yeah, we'll go through some error validation in the next video, I believe. Just because there is quite a lot to do on error validation, and I'd like to go back through some of these name strings random files and actually show you how we could do some error validation. We'll go into some kind of advanced stuff with try and accept, which we don't tend to use much in GameMaker, but when we do, it's quite important. So anyway, I'll leave that for the next video. If you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, or else do you guys want to do, and I will talk to you in the next one.